Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be filling you in on a lot that's been happening over the past year when we haven't been vlogging. There's been a lot that has happened. I'm not going to be able to get into everything in this video, and I will kind of update as we get the vlogs up, which will be coming very, very soon. They're a lot easier to film and edit because the kids are obviously involved in those videos. And with these ones, I kind of have to find a time to sit down and do this, and that is very challenging at the moment. So those will be coming very soon, but I did want to just update on everything that's been going on so that you're all caught up. The first update that I have is about Jer, who is my stepdad, and I just wanted to kind of clear something up before we get into that. Jer is my stepdad. Sometimes on this channel I call him Dad, and I just thought that that would be less confusing than calling him my stepdad because you guys don't know much about my biological dad, but it's just gotten really, really confusing because in my personal life I don't really call him that. I call him Jer, so it just kind of got really confusing for me. And also I want to talk about my biological dad moving forward. I want to talk more about my childhood and about my life and really open up more. So going forward it would get even more confusing. So going forward I am going to differentiate. I will say my stepdad or Jer, or I will say my biological dad, so you guys, there's no confusion. And I don't want that to sound bad, but Jer came into my life in my late teens. He and my mom got married when I was 17, so I was almost out of the house, almost an adult. So I just never really called him dad. He has been the only father figure in my life, and he's an amazing one. He is so kind-hearted. He's an amazing man. He's an amazing papa to my kids, but I've just never really called him that, so I just wanted to clear that up. But anyways, as some of you may know from some of my previous videos, Jer has kidney disease and was searching for a transplant. He was on the transplant list for a very, very long time, for over 17 years. And the reason for that is because he had actually already had a transplant when he was younger from his sister. But back when he had his first transplant, they didn't last as long. They didn't have the technology that we have now or the science, and so it just didn't last as long as they can now. So he did go into kidney failure again and was put back on dialysis. But anyways, because he had already had a transplant, he was at a higher risk of rejection. So they had to have him have a lot of treatment so that he could have lower antibodies to accept a kidney if one were to come along. So that's the reason why he was on the transplant list for so long. And that is very hard on your body. It led to a lot of other health problems, and the past few years he just really was not doing well. And to be honest, I was very scared for him. I really didn't know if he was going to make it to a transplant. But in August of 2020, in the midst of the COVID craziness, my mom and Jer got the call that there was a transplant for him. And obviously, in most cases with organ donation, it is a very sensitive subject because as one family is given a new lease on life, the other one has a life taken away from them. Obviously, we are very thankful to Jer's donor and their family, and we hope that they're healing and understand just how much they have changed our lives and probably many other lives through organ donation. But yeah, I just don't want to seem insensitive to that family and to the organ donor. But there was an organ available for him, and so they flew to California to Cedars-Sinai, which was his transplant hospital. And at this point I still didn't want to believe it because I didn't want to believe it because I didn't want to be let down, because we had been let down so many times throughout this journey. But he got the transplant and he did amazing. He did have to stay in California for a month, but that is typical to make sure that you're not rejecting the kidney. And it is a major, major surgery. There's a lot of healing that has to happen, and there's a lot of rehabilitation that has to happen. But he healed really well and they came home. And then he did have to make continued trips back to California once a month, which was also very scary because he was traveling to a highly populated area on an airplane during COVID. Unfortunately, our fears were realized when he did get COVID, and my mom also ended up testing positive, and that was a very scary time for us. And he was very sick for 4 weeks, and my mom was very sick for 2 weeks, And to be honest, there was a time when we thought that they might have to be admitted to the hospital, but thankfully they both pulled through. I really don't know how, because with the medication that he was on, he really should have done a lot worse. He did still have lasting side effects for quite a while, but yeah, they both recovered. He's doing great now. He can start doing the things that he loves again. He still does have health issues from long-term dialysis use and from long-term kidney disease, but he's doing much, much better, and we are so happy that he was given this new lease on life. But the next update is about my health, and I've talked quite a bit on this channel about my mental and physical health, and as far as my mental health, I will be updating in a video soon. I have started seeing a psychiatrist, and we've started to get some answers and taken some steps to really figure out what's really going on, because I feel like that's never really been done. It's always just been very on the surface with most of the doctors that I've seen in the past, but now we are coming up with some answers and some treatment plans, and I'm very excited to move forward with this journey and share more about that in another video. But as far as my physical health, before we took the long break from vlogging, I had just had 2 knee surgeries, and that was right before COVID. And to be honest, I am still not doing the best. I'm still not recovered fully, and I think that part of that is because of COVID, because I had my last surgery at the very end of 2019, and so I was still in physical therapy when COVID came about, and so I wasn't able to finish. That was just what was safest, and also they weren't seeing any patients that weren't like, you didn't have to be there. So I didn't get as far along as I really should have in physical therapy. I really should go back at this point, to be honest, but I also should be keeping up with it better at home, which I haven't been doing as well with. So that is still a journey. Lately I have been more on top of it, and I've been doing biking, which is really something that they encouraged me to do because it really works those muscles. But yeah, the knees are still not the best, but that's all that I have to update about my health. The kids' health has been pretty good. None of us got COVID at all, which I am very fortunate for. I don't know that many people who really didn't, but we were very lucky with that. We actually, because everyone was being so safe and wearing masks and social distancing, staying home, we were very careful about it, and we only got 1 cold the entire amount of, like, I guess the height of COVID. I mean, it still exists, but the height of COVID, we only got 1 cold. So that was really great. Addie did have a severe allergic reaction about a month ago. She ended up in the hospital twice, and I will talk about that in its own separate video because, again, there's just a lot there too. We also had some blood tests run on both of the kids recently by their doctor, and so we were referred to a specialist about something concerning that they found in their blood tests, but we will be seeing the specialist soon. So I will kind of update more as we get more information on that. And that's just, again, has to be its own whole video because there's a lot there. As far as Tex, he actually had a knee surgery around the time that I was having my knee surgeries. And then his other knee, ended up needing surgery. So he's actually had another surgery since we stopped vlogging, and this one actually has been taking a lot longer to heal. So I'm not sure. He's going to be seeing his vet soon, and they'll kind of give us more guidance. His seizures, I know I've talked a little bit about in the past, but he has epilepsy. He has horrible seizures. They're really bad, and they were getting very frequent even though he was on medicine. They've been upping his medicine, changing his medicine, trying to figure out what works. And I think that we've gotten to a pretty good point with that, but he does still have breakthrough seizures, which is normal, but we're still trying to figure out really what works for him. Another thing that I have to update on is Cohen's glasses. Some of you noticed from the last video that I posted that Cohen now has glasses, and some of you commented that he was super cute and handsome, and I totally agree. He totally rocks them. He's gotten used to them. It has been a long journey. When Cohen was 2, he went to the pediatricians, and at least in our area, I don't know if this is in every doctor's office or every pediatrician's, but they have this little machine that they can take a detailed picture or something of your eye. Again, I don't really know all of the science or anything like that, but it can just flag their eyes. It's not really to diagnose them, but it somehow assigns them a number of like how bad the amount of flag is. I don't really understand, but his eyes were flagged, and it was at a high enough rate that they recommended that we should go to the eye doctor. And Addie's eyes have actually flagged as well before, but they weren't like high enough. So they actually never referred us to an eye doctor for her, but they did for Cohen. And we had kind of noticed that there were a few things that kind of pointed towards him having vision problems. So we went and he stayed there for hours because it's very hard, obviously, to get a 2-year-old to participate in the tests and to really get a thorough exam done on his eyes. But they did see that his vision was not good. But they were hopeful that as his eyes developed over the next year, because apparently in between 2 and 3 is a huge eye development age, they thought that maybe his eyes would get better. And so we had a follow-up when he was 3. And so they did, hours of testing, and they found out that he has severe prescriptions in both eyes, but one of his prescriptions is worse than the other. And I'm still confused about this to this day. I think he cannot see as well near, like up close. He can see better far away. I think that's called farsighted. I think, I could be wrong. But anyways, he has a harder time seeing near. And both eyes are severe prescriptions, but one eye is worse than the other. And also he has severe astigmatisms in both eyes, but one is worse than the other. The problem with having different prescriptions in your eyes, or having one eye that's worse of a prescription than the other, is that one eye can become weak while the other one becomes stronger because you're overcompensating with that eye. And so the weaker eye can eventually turn in and kind of give up. And that's just a whole other issue in itself. It's much harder to correct, and it's possible that he would end up needing surgery depending on how bad it got. Fortunately, we caught it very young. So yeah, he's just gonna have glasses. And I've got to tell you, it was a big transition at first. He didn't want to wear them because he's a toddler, he wants to run around, and they were kind of annoying to him. Now he has completely gotten used to them, and once he realized, oh, I can see better. I can look at my books better, I can play better. After that, he definitely warmed up to them, and now it's just a part of everyday life. He doesn't even notice them anymore. And it's actually kind of changed his personality in a way, because I think that before he was a little bit more timid, a little bit more scared, because he couldn't see and he would run into things a lot, which he's still a klutz because he is like me. But it's been a lot better, and he's just kind of had a little personality change. The last update that I'm going to go over in this video is Addie going into school, and she's actually not going into school. She is turning 5 in October, which some kids do go to school at that age, but we have decided to wait until next year just to really give her the best chance. And also, we are planning on homeschooling. I really hope that I can. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work yet. We haven't finalized anything, but that's the dream. That's what I would love to do. So we'll be starting that, or she will be starting school somehow next year. But they are going to be starting in activities. And Addie did some activities. She did swimming and she did gymnastics before COVID. Cohen was too young at that point. But obviously in the almost 2 years since COVID, they haven't done anything. So we really wanted to get them enrolled in some activities. I think that it'll be really good for them. And I want to get them out of the house. I want them to meet new friends and to have fun. And I'm so excited that they get to do that this year. Addie is obsessed with ballet and dance. So we decided to get her in I think it's called kinder dance class. She is really our social butterfly, so I think that she's going to do just fine. She's going to love it. She's going to thrive. Cohen is going to be in gymnastics, and he had the option of doing the younger toddler class, which is one that I would participate in, which is honestly the safer option for him because he has been more outgoing, but he still is very, very shy. I want to push him a little bit, and I will still be watching from feet away, but he will be going off with the teacher and all of the other little kids. It's going to really be his own thing, and I'm really excited. I think that the beginning is not going to be great. I think that it's going to be a hard adjustment for him because he really is my baby, and they haven't ever been in daycare. They haven't ever really done anything like this, especially Cohen. So I'm excited. I think that it'll be really good for him. But I think that that's all of the updates that I have for this video. I can already tell that it is getting very long. So I will just end it here. The next video that is going up will be a vlog, and I'm very excited to get back into that. And those will be a lot more frequent because, again, like I said, they're a lot easier for me to get done and to film the kids around. But I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.